Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I formally declare open this Submissions Committee meeting of the Colac Otway Shire on the 14th of July 2026. Start with the opening prayer. Almighty God, we seek your blessing and guidance in our deliberations on behalf of the people of the Colac Otway Shire. Enable this council's decisions to be those that contribute to the true welfare and betterment of our community. Amen. I'd like to start this afternoon by acknowledging the traditional custodians and lawmakers of this land, their elders past and present. Please be advised that this meeting is recorded and live streamed with the exception of confidential matters. This includes the public participation sections of meetings. The live stream recordings of this afternoon's meeting will be available on the website as soon as practicable. By participating in open meeting, individuals consent to the use and disclosure of the information they share at the meeting, including any personal and/or sensitive information. I note that all councillors are present with the exception of Councillor McCrickard, who is an apology for today. 3.3, the confirmation of minutes. I propose that we move to confirm the minutes of the Submissions Committee meeting held on the 9th of June 2026. Do I have a mover? Councillor Potter, is it to be seconded? Councillor Hudgell. A motion before us. Councillors will now put to a vote. All those in favour? Councillor Potter, Councillor Buchanan, Councillor Duke, Councillor Hudgell, Councillor Howe, Councillor Schramm. Carried 6-0. Thanks, councillors. We'll now move to declarations of interest. Are there any? There are none. We'll now move on to the verbal submissions from submitters. Council appreciates the community's submissions in today's agenda item and values the effort put into both written and in-person contributions. Councillors review all submissions thoroughly and find them very useful. Today, people can restate or highlight parts of their submissions. I'll now read the names of the registered speakers, so please raise your hand when your name is called. By video conference, Graham Costin. Nope. Justine McCarthy. Elizabeth Ryan, thank you. Jenny Evans, thank you. Michael State. Thank you. Angela Baldwin. No. Jennifer Vasil. Online, sorry. Yep, thank you, I see you. Please note that this committee will hear submissions today, but no decisions will be made at this meeting. A decision on this matter will be made at a later meeting. We'll now move on to items on the agenda. Item 5.1, the draft road safety strategy submissions. We have 3 people wishing to speak. I'll invite Justine McCarthy first. Thank you. Just a reminder that you've got 5 minutes and I'll let you know when you've got a minute left. Thanks.
Hi everyone. I think you probably remember me from about a month ago, so I'll just jump straight in. I promise I'm actually not going to talk about the quarry today, but it is indirectly why I'm here. I've become an advocate and expert on road safety, unfortunately. The draft road safety strategy details the state of our roads, the accident severity, numbers and locations. For the first time, we have a very clear map of our community getting hurt. And I congratulate you all on this initiative, but a map of our trauma is not a strategy for our survival. While this draft gives valuable foundations, its proposed actions are not SMART. By that I mean specific, measurable, achievable, relevant or time-bound. In order to get actionable actions, I think we really do need to define the problem properly. So let's jump through 4 hard facts of our shire. We have a small population of 22,000 residents and maintaining a 1,600 kilometre road network, which is hammered by over 1 million tourists annually, whose impact is completely neglected by the state's funding formulas. Our asset sustainability ratio sits at 64%. Our roads are wearing out faster than we can patch them, and 92% of our road funds are locked away entirely on patching them and maintaining the surface. We have precisely 0% internal budget allocation to self-fund safety upgrades till at least 2030. So the upgrades do rely 100% on grants. And I think this is really where we need to put our strategy to work. But even when we do win grants, Contractor monopolies, metropolitan mobilisation premiums push deep reconstructions to an astronomical $3 million per lane kilometre. We are continually forced to roll forward 15% or $3 to $5 million of our capital works in unspent paper entries every winter. We face a massive disadvantage in grant bids because we rely on central crash databases operating on a major time delay. We cannot mathematically prove escalating risk to state assessors until there is a severe tragedy. It's quite the problem we're confronted with. And I know people will complain about potholes, so probably some people sitting beside me. But I think if you share these facts with our community, honesty will be a strategic advantage. So what can we actually do with what we've got? Some suggestions. We could ring fence $500,000 to serve as a matching co-contribution leverage, automatically turning that into $1.5 to $2 million of state safety funding. Tie this grant to public ratepayer risk ledger and a grant dashboard so residents can track what they put in and they can see what you guys are actually doing and achieving and where you can't achieve because the government doesn't allow that to happen. The data shows a staggering 50% of serious trauma happens when cars run off winding rural roads. A tragically confirmed only 2 weeks ago when a local lady was tragically killed. She was the same age as me and had 4 young daughters. A physical realignment of just one bend can cost $2 million. So let's bypass it entirely by using low-cost smart alternatives, audio tactile rumple strips, high-friction surface costs, retro-reflective posts installed into our existing asphalt using our agile local in-house crews. Furthermore, instead of spending millions on roundabouts, let's equip our top 5 high-risk junctions with solar-powered, radar-activated variable advisory signs warning the side oncoming traffic that there's a vehicle there. Let's update our road management plan guidelines so surveillance teams move past the simple defect monitoring that they're currently doing, actively log narrow shoulders, drop off, critical sightline defects into a high-risk geometry register. To stop this safety strategy from becoming a static 10-year tick box proposal, put in a clear statutory mechanism. No major precinct master plan, commercial growth plan or capital allocation should be tabled without a signed engineering impact assessment certifying network safety. Update the planning codes to compel new commercial expansions to contribute directly to the network safety before receiving their final permits. For existing operators, build voluntary logistic accords. Establish a continuous data sharing loop with local police, transport fleets. By collecting real-time data from the police and log telematics, you can actually have live data that you can present to the state government. And stop fighting this battle in isolation. I recommend that you would join with the Surf Coast, Corangamite and Moyne Shires. We've seen that the Gorpaka, the Great Ocean Road Coast and Parks Authority, has got $100 million. How many of that are we getting? And how much is going to our roads? With a group of 4 shires, I think we should be able to lobby a little bit harder than we have been. So this is my suggestion, is to rewrite the actions, look at the map of what our real blocking points are, and build solutions based on that. I hope you can look forward to that. I have got a list of that writing because I've just gone through a lot of points, so I'm happy to hand that over to someone.
If you hand it to Steve behind you there, he'll grab that off you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'll just see, there's someone else joined online. Graham Costin, can you hear us online?
Yes, I can. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, you can go next if you like. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and Councillors, for the opportunity to speak. The Apollo Bay Community Voice, and I'm speaking on behalf of, welcomes the draft road safety strategy. Its alignment with the National Victorian Road Safety Policies provides a good foundation for improving road safety. Our submission covers 7 areas where we believe this strategy could be strengthened. First is in the priorities. The strategy identifies many worthwhile actions, but it doesn't clearly identify which are the highest priorities. Ranking the actions by safety benefit, community need and cost effectiveness would help maximise the community benefit that can be derived from Council's limited resources. Second, pedestrians and cyclists are very vulnerable road users. The strategy recognises the high vulnerability of these users, but the proposed actions don't well cover that objective. There appears to be an emphasis on education and advocacy, but not enough on proven road safety measures to protect pedestrians and cyclists. Things like shared use paths, protected cycling facilities, raised pedestrian crossings, and traffic calming. So we ask for a stronger focus on separating those vulnerable road users from vehicles. Third, probably comes as no surprise, planning for a pedestrian cycle link between Apollo Bay and Skeens Creek. Council's website rightly recognises Apollo Bay, Maringo and Skeens Creek as one integrated population centre. Maringo, Skeens Creek are effectively suburbs of Apollo Bay. The residents move between these three places every day. They do that for shopping, for schooling, for recreation, and they compete in that space with large numbers of visitor vehicles, tourist vehicles. Yet the pedestrians and cyclists who want to move between Skeens Creek and Apollo Bay still have to travel along the edge of the Great Ocean Road between Apollo Bay and Skeens Creek. They share that narrow shoulder with high-speed vehicles and large vehicles like buses and trucks. The Great Ocean Road may not be a council-managed road, but the pedestrians, the cyclists, the residents and visitors who use it are all part of the Colac Otway Shire community. The safety issues along this corridor are very relevant to Council's road safety strategy. So we ask Council to include an action to work with the Department of Transport and Planning and the Great Ocean Road Coast and Parks Authority to plan this corridor as one integrated road safety precinct, including the joint planning for a future safe pedestrian and cycling connection. Fourth, the strategy sets out a vision, but it has limited measures of success. We think it needs some clearer targets, such as reduction in serious injuries, improved pedestrian safety, or delivery of shared use infrastructure that would help the community, help Council and the community to measure its progress. Fifth, the implementation. Many actions depend on grants or external agencies, and a clearer implementation plan, perhaps in the form of a table, would help the community to understand who's responsible for what, the funding pathways and the anticipated timeframes.
Just got 1 minute.
Thank you. 6, advocacy versus delivery. Advocacy and partnerships are important, but residents will judge the strategy by visible improvements on the ground. Finally, tourist roads. Colac Otway's heavily visited roads have unique challenges. They carry large numbers of visitors unfamiliar with rural roads and local conditions. And they use those roads with the risks associated with wildlife, frequent roadside stopping and driver fatigue. These tourism-related risks deserve a greater recognition in the strategy. So in closing, we believe the strategy provides a strong foundation, but with clearer priorities, measurable outcomes, some stronger measures to protect pedestrians and cyclists, planning for an Apollo Bay Skeens Creek pedestrian and bicycle link, an increased focus on implementation and the risk associated with heavily touristed roads. It could better respond to the community's calls for safer roads. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Graham. I'll now call on Elizabeth Ryan. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me speak today. I'm here in my personal capacity, even though I'm a member of Road Safe Otway who did participate in the strategy, which was really valuable. I'm curious to know what other groups like the emergency services and other people who could have participated, truck drivers, and even like go out to the sale yards, did those people visiting the sale yards get encountered with? I did attend the session at Berry, and there was 3 of us. And in Colac, I believe there were similar numbers, and I don't know what happened at Apollo Bay. So I think the strategy needs to be more preventive than reactive, and I was really disappointed that it's all focusing on the fatalities from ending March last year. We need to look at the history of our area. Our staff need to look at and understand what is actually causing the road and safety issues. I had a great discussion with the Cosworks guy last year because I'd asked for Worrell Station Road, where I live, which is a gravel road, got a swamp, really wet, and actually asked, he didn't understand the road infrastructure and why it was so desperate for grading and drainage works. And I'd love the Shire to come out and visit it, because now we actually have banted sides and the water's actually draining off. We've got a few potholes, but not the lakes and craters we've had in the past, and it's really exciting to actually see water drainage to the swamp. 25 years ago, I can remember my youngest was 4, and our road was so bad that we had lakes across the swamp on the road, and my 4-year-old suggested to the Cosworks guy, Ray Leake, that he could bring out a truck and a whacker-packer and please fix those said holes. And I think that's the basics. We're missing the basics. We're not letting the community explain our roads, our history, and that's part of the strategy to understand where things have changed. The impact of technology. We've got trucks now that are pulling off the side of the road on a total fireban day, doing a burn-off under our trees. It's like crazy stuff. The Surf Coast Shire has appointed, or is it this next current round of budget funding, they're actually going to appoint a transport officer, which I think would be invaluable. We haven't had one for over 11, 12 years, I think, in the Shire, to actually talk to. One of my other passion projects is the Colac to Lawn public bus, which runs about 6 weeks if we're lucky over the summer period. And it's a shame that we only have Apollo Bays only 1 day a week during the year. So at least it's got an annual service though. You're going to love this one. I'm going to have to say something more about potholes. My husband actually came up with this analogy, so it's all credit to him. It's like going to the dentist with a pothole, but our potholes are beyond that. They're needing root canal treatment, so they need specialist work. I think we've all seen it. They go out, you see Shire workers, actually it's Fulton Hogan, out patching holes on the highway in the pouring rain, and they're just putting a filler on. It's just absolutely pointless. The holes just blow out again the next bit of rain. We're not addressing the problem. The cambers on the road aren't being fixed. There's water just pooling, and I think water's the classic, isn't it, that we're so used to having a drought, and that's what happened 25 years ago actually. The Shire got away, there'd been a drought, and nobody had to do anything about road maintenance. My other passion is trees. I cannot stand trees along the side of the road, and the number of emergency call-outs over the last 24 hours because trees have dropped from Benware, and I know that's not our Shire, but there was Gerengameet, there was one at Kawarren over in the last couple of days, and the impact then on the native animals if the trees are causing that sort of interest as well, because and I actually value roundabouts after watching a really good story about the cost of roundabouts versus traffic lights. So I'm really big about roundabouts. And here's a one out there. It'd be great if Warncourt, during along the highway, could have some windsocks, because people actually understood how windy it gets. Because I actually have a friend who actually lost, they rolled their caravan there years ago. So yeah, we just can do fun things, and I think it'd be a point of interest for making people aware that the wind is strong through that section.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thanks, councillors. There's an officer recommendation in the report. Does any councillor wish to move that as the motion? Councillor Howard, seconded. Councillor Hudgell. Councillor Howard is the mover. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, very happy with the submitters that to take the time and effort to put their submissions in and then talk to them as well, because you can always hear the passion and the emotion behind them and the common sense. So again, appreciate everyone who's made a submission today.
Thank you. Councillor Hudgell, no? Any other councillor wish to speak? No, thank you. We have a motion before us. Councillors will now put it to a vote. All those in favour, Councillor Potter, Councillor Buchanan, Councillor Dewey, Councillor Hudgell, Councillor Howard, Councillor Schramm. Motion is carried 6-0. We now move on to item 5.2, draft road upgrade policy submissions. We have two people to speak to this. I'll first invite Jenny Evans. Thank you.
Good afternoon, guys. For the ones that don't know, I am Jenny Evans. I send Doug there numerous emails in regards to what I want to talk about. My parents moved into Harris Road in 75. The dust out that area was not a problem. We have numerous dirt roads within the township of Colac. Something really needs to be done about it. Years ago, silica is a form of dust which causes cancer, can cause cancer, beg your pardon. It was mixed in with the actual crushed rock to be spread on the roads. The more you grade, the more it's coming to the surface. It is now airborne. The health and safety around your the dirt roads in Colac need major attention. In about 16, 17, my mother called me in Hamilton, so excited. A council worker had come to her front door to say that Harris Road was going to be sealed. They pegged it, and that's about as far as it got. So it was to be sealed some years ago. It really needs to be sealed. You want to prioritise your sealing of, if you're going to seal the dirt roads within town, you start on the outer and you work in. Yes, we could, a lot of traffic Kent Road, a lot of traffic Sinclair, Armstrong Street. They all need it, and it's snowballed. Everybody's whinging now, and it's snowballed, and you don't know which one, in my opinion, to do first. You do the outer because Harris Road, the dust comes down over everybody. You do a gravel road closer to town, you're not solving what's coming, or it's still going to come down. The potholes, they're sinkholes. The guys were out there a week and a half ago, did a beautiful track road grading. It became a speedway. No one cares about the 80k sign. They are doing 80, 90 through to, from Irwillipi Road through to Armstrong Street. No one cares about the 60 and the 80k signs out there, especially when you make a speedway. Nice smooth road, they fly along it. I think we need to change that to 60. I took photos this morning and sent to one of the councillors, Kelly, in respect to Sinclair Street South. The drainage does not exist from getting closer to the crossroad at Laws and Hayes Street. Does not exist. The water, without exaggerating, would be nearly half the width of this room. That is just pooling. It's running from Harris Road all the way down. So some drainage around there. I believe Armstrong Street's the same. The wetlands, Lake Limonite, I call it, the water is slowly getting away, but by the time you get to Irwillipi Road, it's bogged in by dirt, grass, major problem, mud. So that's really what I'm on about, those dirt roads within the town. They are bad, they continually get potholes, and there's sinkholes, some of them. Doug and the crew do a fairly good job coming out with the graders and doing whatever, but the dust is not healthy to be breathing in. We really need to start prioritising in a budget every year one of these dirt roads within town to be sealed. I really believe that needs to be done. I don't know whether the rest of you, but that's my gripe. The dirt roads and potholes within the area I live. My parents whinged for years. I'm starting to whinge and I'm flicking emails with photos. But that's all I wanted to say, guys.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
All right. Thanks, Jenny. We'll now call Michael State up. Thank you.
I also would just like to acknowledge traditional owners and thank the council for this opportunity. I'm talking about, I really want to just draw your attention to the boulevard in Wye River. The main section of the boulevard, which goes up the hill, was originally sealed, I believe, in the 70s. The last part of the boulevard, which I'm talking about, was never sealed. It's all residential up there. It's never been sealed, and it's much more built up now, obviously, than it was in the 70s. It's a small section of road. It's only approximately 150 metres, but it's become quite dangerous. I've submitted a number of photographs with my submission to the council that I draw your attention to. It includes a very dangerous intersection on the corner of the boulevard and Coringal. It's where a priority road meets secondary road, being boulevard, but the giveaway sign is on Coringal, but it's very confusing to drivers, very dangerous. The road itself is the main road for bin pickups, and it's also become a very busy road because it joins onto Riverside, which is the last probably undeveloped area of Wye River, and many construction trucks use that road. The other issue that we have with the boulevard, and you will notice it's on the photos, is that at least 2 or 3 times a year over the high season, I'm offering first aid to people who have slipped over on the very slippery surface, the ball-bearing effect of the stones on the surface, quite dangerous. It's a very, very popular road now to give access to the west section of Wye River, a lot of the walking tracks. So in summertime now, there's very heavy tourist traffic. The only other thing I perhaps need to point out is, and I'm a member of the CFA, is access for our trucks. It's just become very dangerous accessing that part of Wye River. Yes, the road itself is, well, it's very rarely gets graded, and it's just rutted at this time of year with water, and I'd say that it probably affects a dozen houses on the road itself. Not significant, but of course it's important to us. That's really all. I just wanted to highlight the submission that I've already made, and I thank you for your time.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, councillors. There's an officer recommendation in the report. Would any councillor like to wish to move that as the motion? Councillor Hudgell, is it to be seconded? Councillor Potter, Councillor Hudgell as a mover. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone who has made a verbal submission here today, and also thank everyone who has made written submissions. I think I can speak on behalf of all the councillors that we really do appreciate all the effort that goes into these, the local knowledge and the lived experiences. It's extremely valuable, so thank you for being here today and for all the time that you've put into it.
Thank you, Councillor Potter. No, any other councillor wish to speak? No, we have a motion before us, councillors. We'll now put it to a vote. All those in favour, Councillor Potter, Councillor Buchanan, Councillor Dew, Councillor Hodger, Councillor Howard, Councillor Schram, motion is carried 6-0. Thanks, councillors. We'll now move on to item 5.3, the draft economic development framework. We have 3 people wish to speak. All via video conference. So firstly, I invite Graham Costin, if you can hear me.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yep, go for it. Floor's yours.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Mayor and councillors, thanks for the opportunity to speak. I note you're now about halfway through your through your 4-year term. In October last year, you adopted the council plan, and in that plan, you committed to growing and diversifying the economy, supporting local businesses, attracting investment and creating jobs. You also, in the plan, adopted clear measures of success, which included more affordable housing, more young people choosing to live in the Shire, more businesses, more events, more visitors staying longer and spending more, improved transport options, and getting more people involved in community life. While these are admirable goals, to date we haven't seen any publicly reported progress on these success measures. And in the meanwhile, many of our coastal businesses and communities continue to grapple with a shortage of workers and volunteers, and there's still a lack of affordable housing. There's still a shortage of childcare for key workers, and we still have an ageing population with very little growth, if any. So Council is now considering a 10-year economic development framework to be followed later, we understand, by an economic development action plan. It looks like by the time that process is complete, you'll have less than 2 years left to implement any priority economic development projects. Plans and strategies and frameworks are important in some circumstances, but they don't create jobs or build homes or provide childcare, increase volunteers, or promote economic growth. Actions do that. In the final economic development framework, we encourage Council to place greater emphasis on actions that begin now and on projects that can attract external funding during this Council term. First, we encourage a stronger alignment between the framework and the Council plan so that the community can clearly see how the framework goals translate into practical actions and measurable outcomes. Second, we ask for a greater recognition of the strategic economic values of the Apollo Bay Harbour, the commercial and recreational fishing, boating and sailing, and the nature-based tourism that takes place along the coast. These sectors are major contributors to our local employment, to our business activity, and they slow down tourism. Yet they receive little attention in the draft framework. Third, we encourage a greater recognition of the challenges facing our coastal communities. It's the lack of affordable housing, the 70% holiday homes and short-term rentals, 70%, and the limited access to early childhood education and care all make it harder to attract and retain young families, key workers and volunteers. Lastly, it brings us to volunteers, which are one of our coast's greatest economic assets. They support our emergency services, our healthcare provider, our schools, our sporting clubs, community organisations, and many of those services that make small remote communities like ours more robust and more economically resilient. We believe strengthening and sustaining this volunteer base should be recognised as an economic development priority, not simply as a community service afterthought. To close, we encourage Council to adopt a more place-based approach to economic development. Different parts of the Shire face different challenges and opportunities. Recognising those differences will help communities like ours to better prosper and better contribute to the overall Colac Otway economy.
1 minute.
Thanks, Jason. So, councillors, your council plan already tells us what success looks like. The challenge is now to deliver the outcomes you committed to in the plan and before this council's term comes to an end. Thank you. I'm happy to answer questions.
Thanks, Graham. I see online, we've still got Jennifer. Yeah, so just whenever you're ready, just unmute yourself and go for it. Thanks.
I have. Thank you so much. I trust that you can all hear me. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this afternoon. I'm just here on behalf of the Forest Horse Riding Club, a club that has been going for over 20 years in Forest at the Recreation Reserve, which some of you may know as the old Pony Club site. So it has a very long history of horse riding in Forest. And I'd just like to get a little bit of feedback on the draft economic development framework for the next 10 years. I think we all recognise, as all of the clubs, including the Forest Horse Riding Club, welcome the framework's vision to grow higher value visitor economy, more overnight stays, spreading visitors across the Shire. That's exactly the direction we want to see. There's quite a few gaps though, and the framework talks about expanding visitor experiences and building year-round higher value tourism, and mountain biking clearly has become a great success story for Forest, and we all recognise that. However, we'd like you to think a little bit broader, and we'd like that mentioned in that proposal. There's an opportunity to build on that with something broader, like an integrated Otway Trail network covering mountain biking, walking, gravel cycling, family, accessible trails, arts trails, history trails, nature trails, and of course horse riding. Horse riding is currently missing totally from the framework entirely, despite being such a long-standing activity in the Otway. So we just want to be not forgotten. We do support the community a lot. Equestrian visitors tend to stay longer, travel in groups, need accommodation, spend locally on food and supplies. They tend to come to Forest and they tend to stay. They don't come and pack their jam sandwich and off they go in the afternoon. They stay here for a lot longer. So it's exactly the kind of higher value year-round visitor that the framework is chasing. So equestrian tourism is growing nationally, and the Otways has natural advantages to become one of Victoria's premier multi-use trail destinations. So it's just about one recreational group. It isn't about one recreational group over the other. We want a network that serves all recreation users, whether it be riders, walkers, cyclists, families, everybody, because it will create a more resilient tourism offer. So we're just after, just a broader sense of attracting different markets in different seasons, more reasons to stay longer and more reasons to come back. And I guess the bigger concern for us too, and I suspect all the councillors have heard this before from other groups, our community has sat through years of consultations, workshops, strategy documents on tourism, recreation, economic frameworks, and we do appreciate being asked, we really do, but there's a real frustration building. These processes keep producing frameworks and visions with very little actually being delivered on the ground, and that's becoming really frustrating. The last community engagement session I went to, the staff were absolutely lovely. The consultant who was employed, again at a cost for the day, was very impressed with our ability to put pen to paper and really tell you what we wanted and what we needed. And we all had to look at each other and kind of smile and go, well, we've had a lot of practice writing this down because we've been doing it for quite a few years now. So, the Colac Otway Shire, although we're a proud and mighty shire, we have limited resources, and we'd urge the priority now shift from writing more strategy to delivering practical projects with some measurable outcomes. The framework has a good vision, but it would be much stronger with clear priorities identified, including something like the Otways Trail Network that council can actually use to chase funding and partnerships. We're not asking for big ticket projects or blank checks. What we want is genuine consultation with the clubs and the user groups that are already active in this region, the people who know the trails and the terrain and the real outcomes on the back of it. We're chasing small wins, low-hanging fruit, practical, achievable projects that can be delivered quickly, even things like a playground, toilets, of course, a big ticket item, but we want those. So we're really ready to move past this consultation stage into some sort of delivery, as I said, even just, you know, the low-hanging fruit, just some pathway forward. So I guess, you know, I just wanted to put our foot forward and say to please recognise perhaps the trail-based tourism network, including horse riding, explicitly in the framework. We'd like our name mentioned as horse riding and the Forest Horse Riding Club as part of an integral trail network alongside mountain biking, walking, cycling, and perhaps an arts-based trail. And we'd like you to consult directly with our local clubs and user groups. So we'd like to just start with small, achievable projects that show some real progress. I think it will give the council a stronger position to advocate for funding and attract investment across the whole Shire. And we've also said that we will certainly help you do that. We will volunteer to help you do that instead of perhaps employing a consultant to do that. There is a lot of very clever people in Forest, and we would happily put pen to paper and help the Shire staff to do that.
Thanks, Jennifer. That's time.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Thank
you're
you so
right.
much.
All right. Thank you. I'll just check Angela's not in, is she? No. Thanks, councillors. That's all of our submitters. There's an officer recommendation in the report. Does anyone wish to move that as the motion? Councillor Hudgell. Is it to be seconded? Councillor Buchanan. Councillor Hudgell as the mover. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, once again, just a huge thank you. Thank you, first of all, to Graham and Jennifer for joining us online today. We really appreciate your time and really enjoyed hearing from you both. And there were some really great written submissions on this one as well. So thank you to all those who submitted some written submissions.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Buchanan, seconded. No. Any other councillor? No. I'd just like to thank all our submitters today, both verbal and written. There was certainly a lot, and we value them and some great ideas. We have a motion before us. Councillors, we'll now put it to a vote. All those in favour, Councillor Potter, Councillor Buchanan, Councillor D, Councillor Hudgell, Councillor Harrod, Councillor Schramm. Motion is carried. 6-0. This concludes our submissions committee meeting of the Colac Otway Shire. Thank you to everyone that has attended, online and in person. I now declare this meeting closed at 2:42 p.m.